PSB Media presents the 2014 Power Hockey Cup third place game featuring the Ottawa Capitals and the Calgary Selects. Hi everybody, I'm Howard Luloff welcoming you to the bronze medal game in the biannually Power Hockey Cup, which is held in even number years. This year it's the United States' turn to host the tournament in downtown St. Paul. In the semifinals, Calgary lost to the Philadelphia Power Play 3-2, and the Ottawa Capitals lost to Minnesota 8-1. In a game that will be coming up right here on PSB Media, Mike Peden and I will be carrying the championship game featuring the Philadelphia Power Play and the Minnesota Saints. The Minnesota Saints are the two-time Power Hockey Cup champions, and they're going for number 3 in their home state of Minnesota. In just a moment, we'll be having the player introductions for Ottawa and Calgary. The tournament began on July 21st with round-robin competition, continued on the 22nd, and after some round-robin play on the 23rd, semi-final and consolation play took place, and now we're up to only 2 games left, the third place game and the championship game. Both teams are at their respective benches and both wearing red jerseys. Ottawa's in red. Calgary is wearing the black jerseys. Calgary is coached by Joe Pack. The assistant coaches are Blair Height and Brian Thorne. The Ottawa coach is Dean Delorier. Andrew Burke and Jacob Dugan are his assistants.
After that, Tom, we're going to do announcements.
For those of you who haven't seen Power Hockey, the nets are a lot smaller, and unlike floor hockey that some of you back home in Minnesota have seen when the adaptive floor hockey tournament has been played at Bloomington Jefferson High School, they do not play with an orange puck. They play with a small white wiffle ball. Right now, let's go down to the public address announcer, Charlie Brose, and meet Calgary and Ottawa.
Calgary Selects versus the Ottawa Capitals. Our home team for this game, the Calgary Selects. Beginning with number 21, Keith Bourbonnais on defense. Number 87, Gerald Doucette on forward. Number 8, defenseman number 9, Mark Flores. Number 63, forward, Nathan Grosskloss. Number 25, forward, Sean Paul. Number 13, forward, Mike Falconer. Defenseman number 44, Ben the Sniper Thorne. And the goalie, number 30, Jeff Barrett. Coaches for Calgary are Joe Pack, Blair Height, and Byron Thorne. Now introducing your visiting team, the Ottawa Capitals. Beginning with number 9, forward, Mohamed Awad. Number 73, forward, Wayne Cameron. Number 16, defenseman, Rachel Dean. Number 11, forward, Roddy Howard. Number 19, defenseman, Scott Haycock. Number 1, the goalie, Talia McBride. Number 43, defenseman, Chris Pavone. forward Moses York. The Ottawa coaches are Steve Delorier, Adam Burke, and Jacob Dugan. Now please face the flag as we honor the Canadian teams with O Canada. Referees for this afternoon's game are Tim Coleman, Christine Kay, and Kurt Nelson.
It's the battle for third place with two teams from north of the border, Canada, as Calgary and Ottawa will take to the power hockey floor for the bronze medals. Both Calgary and Ottawa both have National Hockey League franchises, Calgary with the Flames, Ottawa with the Senators, as well as CFL franchises. Calgary with the Stampeders. It's Calgary's home of one of the famous rodeos, the Calgary Stampede, and Ottawa's one of two teams in the CFL to be called the Rough Riders. The other team is Saskatchewan. Uses just one word, Rough Riders. But can Ottawa be Rough Riders against Calgary? Two strong teams battling for third place as Tim Coleman, Kirk Nelson, and Christian Kay, the officials, get ready for this third place game. And we'd like to welcome all of you in Minnesota as well as around the world right here on PSB Media, and we are underway with the third place game as the ball is wedged against the padding area as Calgary gets going. Mike Falconer, who scored 6 goals in the opening game against Toronto, as the ball goes into the corner. Maybe a little bit difficult to pick up their numbers because they are on the sides of their jerseys. So we'll do the best we can right here in St. Paul as the ball goes into the corner with 14:14 to go in the opening period. Now it's Ottawa on the attack. Ball picked up by Ottawa's number 30. As the ball goes back into the corner. 1:12 gone by in the opening period. We're glad you can join us from Roy Wilkins Auditorium in downtown St. Paul. And there's a whistle and the ball is lodged. These are 3 15-minute stop time periods in power hockey as the ball is played to the right side of the Ottawa goal. And it will be taken by Roddy Harb. That's Ben Thorne for Calgary. as Ottawa goes on the attack in front of the scorers table.
So it's a whistle, and then you play it off the whistle. There is offsides. It is a center ice white line that you see. That determines offsides. It's very similar to ice.
That's Sean Paul. And steering the puck around is 34. There's a shot that's wide to the left. That's Ben Thorne for Calgary. Thorne going along the right side. And picked up by Harb. Harb in his own territory in front of the bench. As we play 2.5 minutes of the opening period with the ball going behind the goal. And picked up by Calgary. That's Thorne sending it into the slot as Ottawa gets going. As you notice, the players use one hand for their stick and the other hand to guide their wheelchair. And that's York for Ottawa. York brings it along the right side. York's been having a good tournament. He had a hat trick in the Michigan game where they beat the Mustangs 6-4 in round robin play. As play continues to the left side of the net. That's as the puck goes into the ball goes into the zone. There's a shot that goes into Ottawa territory. As we get a whistle, and there will be a face-off with 10:52 to go in the opening period. Zeros on the scoreboard. Time to take a look at how both teams advanced into medal round play. Calgary beat the Northwest Selects 3-1. Ronnie Harm had a pair of goals in the game. They beat Michigan 6-4 as Muhammad Awad and Moses York, who spells his last name Y-O-R-K-E. Unlike our producer, Mike York, who spells it Y-O-R-K. They both got hat tricks, and they lost 6-1 to Philadelphia. York got the lone goal, and they beat Toronto. York and Wilson had 2 goals apiece as the ball goes out of bounds with 10:19 to go in the opening period. There will be a face-off in the right corner of the Ottawa net, and it will go to Calgary. That's Paul deep in the Ottawa zone. And it goes past an Ottawa player. And bringing up the ball is Sean Paul. And there's a high shot that will go deep into Ottawa territory. And defended by Chris Pavoni. 9:24 to go in the first period, and there's no score. Muhammad Awad digs it out for Ottawa. and sends it up court. That's Johnson Wilson for Ottawa. And it goes in! The first goal of the game at the 6:04 mark. Calgary is on the board. Do we have a replay of that last goal? As the ball went to the right side of Ottawa goalie Talia McBride. The goal coming at 6:04 of the opening period. There's a high shot, goes wide to the left and out of bounds. Here's how Calgary advanced. They lost to the Minnesota Saints 3-1. Sean Pohl got the lone goal for Calgary. As play restarts to the right of the Calgary goal.
Canadian Championships last year, it was 1-1 until very late in the game when Calgary scored 5 seconds left to win the championship 2-1.
And there's a high shot going past Rachel Dean. Both teams are co-ed teams, male as well as female players. And a high shot that goes wide to the right of Talia McBride. That's Harb digging it out from the right side, and there's an opportunity, and it goes in. Calgary is up 2-0. The goal coming at 6:57. Calgary with a pair of goals. The first at 6:04, the second 53 seconds later at 6:57. And it looks like we might have a replay on that. As play restarts from center court.
Scoring for Calgary, number 35, Sean Paul. Now the first goal, also the second goal scoring for Calgary, number 35,
Sean Paul with both goals for the Calgary Selects. Paul, according to coaches Joe Pack and Blair Height, has overcome some adversity. He's battled medical issues throughout the season, but he really wanted to play in the tournament, and he's overcome the obstacles and has helped Calgary so far in the early going with 2 early goals. As play restarts, there's a shot saved by McBride. As play continues behind the Ottawa goal. As the ball goes up court, it's picked up. Moses York. Play continues behind the net. That's Mike Falconer for Calgary. as McBride makes the save with 6:44 to go in the opening period. 2-0 in favor of Calgary. Both goals coming from Sean Paul. Moses York sends it up court. It's wide to the right. And there's a shot, bounces off a wheelchair. As Ottawa goes on the attack, and it looks like there are a couple of wheelchairs tangled. Looks like a bit of a tangled web, but they're untangled. 6:16 to go in the first period, a 2-goal lead for Calgary. The 2014 Power Hockey Cup from the Roy Wilkins Auditorium in downtown St. Paul. The tournament is held in even number years, just like the Olympics. Whether it's the summer or winter games, an even numbered year is when a Power Hockey Cup is held. Competition usually takes place in the spring and summer months due to the high use of gym space in the winter by high school teams. But it keeps the gyms busy during the spring sports season as well as the summer, when the students are on vacation. 5:50 to go in the first period, and we get a whistle. And there will be a face-off. York on the face-off against Ben Thorne, as there's a shot that goes wide to the left. Cameron racing for the ball and goes behind the net. That's Harb. York in. York puts Ottawa on the board and cuts the lead to 1 at 9:30 of the first period. He circled to the right side. On the left of goalie Jeff Barrett, and he put it in to cut the lead to 1. As the ball bounces off of Barrett's wheelchair.
Scoring for Ottawa, number 7, Moses York, assisted by 11, Roddy Harb.
Roddy Harb picks up the assist. And we will get our first penalty of the game. Penalty time lengths are the same as ice hockey, 2 minutes. The first penalty coming up at 9:54, and it will put Ottawa on the power play and a chance to even the score at 2. '51 has the penalty. Keith Bourbonnais, whose number got changed from 21. Bourbonnais will be off for a couple of minutes. That's Johnson Wilson. As the ball bounces off the padding and in front of the scorer's table. Ben Thorne for Calgary. And we thank our producer, Mike York, for supplying your play-by-play man with the correct numbers of the jerseys. As there's 1:06 to go in the Ottawa power play and 4:13 remaining in the opening period, a 1-goal lead in favor of Calgary. As
All out in front.
44.
Quickly, it's been Thorne, number 44. Thorne playing it in behind to Ottawa. Walking away at it. Here's Mike Falkner trying to dump it out in front. Does, kind of deflected in. And it bounces off the goalkeeper of Thalia. McBride and just wide. Now York.
Okay, we're back here. We had some maintenance to do on the rosters because Calgary had different numbers. So we are back with 3:25 to go in the opening period as the ball goes under an Ottawa wheelchair. Now it's Cameron for the Ottawa Capitals. Coming from the national capital of Canada, Ottawa. As the penalty is over with Calgary full strength. 3 minutes to go in the first period. That's Falconer sending it wide to the left. Falconer leading Calgary in the tournament with 9 goals. He scored 6 in the game against Toronto, when Calgary beat Toronto 10-1. As there were a number of wheelchairs in the slot area. As Calgary now on the power play for another 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1, and Ottawa is at full strength with Rodney Harb coming out of the box. As we're down to 2:06 in the opening period. The North American Power Hockey Association is one of the sponsors here and governing organizations for the PowerHockeyCup. The first tournament was in 2004 and was won by Minnesota. And we'll see the Minnesota Saints in the championship game, which will be coming up against the Philadelphia Power Play. As we're down to 1:40 to go in the first period. As play continues in the Ottawa zone. Going behind the net is Mohamed Awad. As we're heading into the final minute of the first period. That's Awad in front of the scorer's table. Now it's Roddy Harb.
45 seconds remaining.
Awad gets tied up and goes into the Calgary in the Ottawa zone. 25 seconds in the period. As Ottawa hopes to get one last shot, as we're down to 10 seconds. as the first period winds down in downtown St. Paul. With the score, the Calgary Selects 2, the Ottawa Capitals 1. We will take a break and we'll be back with the second period of the third place game in the 2014 Power Hockey Cup, which you're watching right here on PSB Media. It's a little bit tougher than regular hockey. You can't see their numbers well.
Yeah, Calgary changing their team.
Howard Luloff back here at the Roy Wilkins Auditorium in downtown St. Paul for the third place game of the 2014 Power Hockey Cup, with the Calgary Selects leading the Ottawa Capitals 2-1. Calgary got both goals from Sean Paul, the first coming at 6:04 and 53 seconds later at 6:57. But Ottawa came back at the 9:30 mark on a goal from Moses York, with Roddy Harb picking up the assist. Sean Paul, the senior member of the Calgary Selects at age 42. The youngest member of the team is Ben Thorne at 22. As for Ottawa, the senior member of the team is Blaine Cameron, who's 41. The youngest member of the team is Johnson Wilson, 17. All of the players come from Ottawa, as we are ready for the second period in this third place game. As play continues to the left of the Ottawa goal, both teams changing ends in the second period. That's York for Ottawa. And going behind the goal is Harb. Sends it down court into the Calgary zone. Picked up by York. York coming down pretty quick. Now it's Calgary on the attack in front of their own bench. That's Gerald Doucette. And it goes by Bourbonnais. As Ottawa tries to get something going, playing in their own territory. Play continues right by one of the speakers as York sends it up. Sean Paul. Who has really performed well, overcoming medical issues as the ball goes into a couple of wheelchairs. That's Harb for Ottawa. Now it's Paul for Calgary, who has 2 goals in this third-place game. 12:15 to go in the second period. 1-goal lead in favor of Calgary. Not exactly a stampede so far in this third-place game. And it looks like we're going to get a penalty. Coming at the 2:52 mark. The penalty will be against Ben Thorne of Calgary. Coming at 2:52 of the second period. And Brett Johnson just came in. Brett, one of the heads of PSB Media, looking on his... We're wrapping up a long day of competition, which started with the 3 consolation round games, and now we're down to the 3rd place and the championship games in the 2014 Power Hockey Cup. And there's a whistle, and there was also a save with 11:27 to go in the second period. 1:18 in the Ottawa power play. As there will be a face-off in front of the Calgary bench. And there's a shot from Mike Falconer, and it's played off Jeff Talia. Now it's Falconer. Falconer in control for Calgary, going up against 3 Ottawa players. Sends it up and bounces off the left wheel of Jeff Barrett, the Calgary goalie. .10:35 left to go in the second period, a 1-goal lead in favor of Calgary. 18 seconds left in the power play for Ottawa. As the ball goes wide to the right of Jeff Barrett, the Calgary goalie. There's a long shot going into the corner. No icing has been called as the penalty has expired, and Calgary is full strength. Now it's York for Ottawa. Here comes Falconer. Falconer with a high shot. Goes into defensive traffic, and Scott Haycock. Here comes Falconer. There's a shot. Another defensive stop. Ottawa playing solid defense in front of the goal. Now it's Harb, as there's some action in front of Talia McBride, the Ottawa goalie. And there's a whistle with 8:51 to go in the second period, 2-1 in favor of Calgary. As the referee returns the stick to the defensive player for Ottawa. Looks like Scott Haycock. And the referee is talking to the Calgary. And it looks like there's going to be a penalty. It's going to be on Falconer at 6:09, and that will put Ottawa on the power play. Calgary picking up their third penalty of the game. Ottawa is 0 for 2. And they hope to tie the score to capitalize on the extra attacker. The face-off is to the right of the goal as play restarts. That's York. York steering him with his left hand, and it goes wide. Picked up by Calgary. Now it's the captain, Sean Paul of Calgary. Paul with 2 goals so far in this third place game. Paul steers it around in his own territory and hopes to bring it up, and defended by York. Now it's Paul. And goes wide to the right of McBride. Play continuing in the corner. Now it's Ben Thorne for Calgary. Here comes York down the left side. 38 seconds left in the power play for Ottawa. Now it's Paul, the captain. Paul looking for an open black jersey, but he's being pressured by two Ottawa defenders. Now it's Harb in front of the bench. There's a high shot. It goes wide to the right of Barrett, and that will do it as it goes in. Didn't go in. 6:51 to go in the second period. Neither team changing the numerals from 2-1 on the temporary scoreboards here at the Roy Wilkins Auditorium. The Roy Wilkins Auditorium was the original home, was a longtime home of the Minnesota State High School boys hockey tournament, which began in 1945. But in 1969, the tournament was moved to Met Center. 7 years later, the tournament returned to the Civic Center in St. Paul, where it remains to this day. And on the former site of the Civic Center, now the XL Energy Center, which we're adjacent to. The XL Energy Center is home of the NHL's Minnesota Wild. As play continues behind the net. Now it's Bourbonnais. The ball steered away by Rachel Dean. Dean playing solid defense for Ottawa. Now it's Falconer. Falconer bounces off a defender playing in front of the goal. And it looks like there will be a penalty. There is no penalty as both teams are making some substitutions, getting some fresh chairs on the playing surface. And there's a high shot that goes wide to the right of Barrett. And plays whistle dead with 4:50 to go in the second period. The face-off will be to the left of Talia McBride in the Ottawa goal. For more information about the 2014 Power Hockey Cup, go to PowerHockeyCup.com. You'll find everything you'll need to know about the Power Hockey Cup, the teams, the rules, as well as game results. There will also be a face-off just in front of the Ottawa goal, the Calgary goal. That's Falconer for Calgary. Now it's Falconer heading up court, might have an opportunity, but a good play in front of the net. Deflects the shot. And that was Hollis Pierce. Pierce playing good defense in front of McBride. It looked like Pierce was anticipating Falconer's shot. Now it's Awad for Ottawa as we're down to 3:10 in the second period. And it bounces off Barrett. Barrett with a good save. Now it's Calgary on the attack. Looks like there will be slashing. And there will be a penalty on Calgary. So for the 4th time in this game, Ottawa will be on the power play. The penalty will be on Gerald Doucette. And coming at 12:08 of the second period. As the face-off will take place in front of the Ottawa bench. And will go out of play as they retrieve the ball near the left curtain. Nobody's performing behind the curtain, so the show will go on. Prior to the PowerHockeyCup in early June, high school graduations were held right here at the Roy Wilkins Auditorium. One of them was Stillwater High School. As we're down to 2:24 in the second period. Well, there's plenty of pomp and circumstance in this tournament, but the circumstance is that there is a 1-goal lead for Calgary. As there's a shot and it goes wide to the left with 2 minutes remaining in the second period. No scoring so far in the period. Now it's Awad. York steering it up court. It will go behind the net and picked up by Calgary with 1:38 to go in the second period. Now it's Falconer for Calgary. Falconer with a high shot and goes past one of the spectators. Unfortunately, he can't keep the ball. Nor can they get an autograph. I don't think they'd be able to autograph a wiffle ball. You think it'd be possible to autograph one? Our engineer agrees that it's not possible. 1:20 to go in the second period. That's hard playing it behind the goal. Falconer going after it as we're heading into the final minute of the second period. Now it's Falconer. Falconer with a high shot. It goes wide to the left. As Calgary is full strength. There's a shot that goes wide to the left of Talia McBride. And it looks like there's going to be a penalty. Interference will be the call at 14:27. And for the first time, Calgary will go on the power play. Rodney Hart will serve a couple of minutes for interference. As play will restart to the right of Talia McBride. Now it's York. That's Gerald Doucette for Calgary. And the shot goes wide to the right as we're into the final 10 seconds of the second period. And that will do it for the second period, with the score remaining. The Calgary Selects 2, the Ottawa Capitals 1. We will take a break and we'll be back with the third period of the third place game of the 2014 Power Hockey Cup. And you're watching the 2014 Power Hockey Cup right here on PSB Media. Brett, hi.
Hey, how's it going, Howard?
Going good.
Hey, what's up, man? How's the game going here for you?
Talented. Numbers.
Howard, this fall, are you still doing PA for St. Louis Park?
I'm still involved with football and soccer.
Oh, soccer, okay, not football?
I still work on their football games.
Okay. Oh,
They
you
only
work
have-
on the football
We
game.
only have 3 football games.
Oh, really? That's kind of weird.
Yep,
I suppose with the new conference, that probably throws things off a little bit the first couple of years.
yep. It's like we're ready. So Howard Luloff back at Roy Wilkins Auditorium in downtown St. Paul for the third place game of the 2014 Power Hockey Cup. For those of you just tuning in, all the scoring was done in the first period. Both of Calgary's goals were scored by Sean Paul. The first at 6:04, the second at 6:57. And then Ottawa got on the board on the goal from Moses York with an assist from Rodney Harb. As both teams are back on the floor. And coming up tonight following the completion of this game and the awards ceremony, the championship game, which will decide the 2014 Power Hockey Cup, as the Philadelphia Power Play takes on the 2-time champion Minnesota Saints. Can they make it 3 in a row? Find out as the game will begin tonight at 7 o'clock right here on PSB Media. And we are ready to begin the third period. There's a shot that goes wide to the left of McBride. Now it's Bourbonnais. Falconer playing behind the goal. And the ball is, and the player in Ottawa Or 6, so they got it back. And the ball will be spotted near the Ottawa bench. 34 seconds gone by in the third period. A 1-goal lead for Calgary. All the scoring coming in the first period. Falconer.
I did the same thing. I was asked to do that, and I was like,
That's Marcus York for Ottawa. York had a hat trick against Michigan. Now it's Calgary back in possession. That's Sean Paul for Calgary. Looking at the box scores prior to coming out to the Roy Wilkins Auditorium, each game has a player of the game. For Calgary, you can only sum it up in 2 words: Sean Paul. As far as Ottawa, Moses York. Now it's York. A backhanded shot. And there's a high pass from Falconer going into the Ottawa zone, and it will be picked up by York. York going to the right side of McBride. Now it's York. Sends it past the scores table. Now it's Paul, the captain of Calgary. Paul steering the puck in the right corner. And it looks like there will be a penalty on the play at 2:58. It will go against Ottawa. It looks like it will be on York. He will be off at 2:58. For the 5th time, Ottawa will be on the power play. Calgary will be on the power play as they look to distance themselves from Ottawa and take home the 3rd place trophy. As play restarts. That's Falconer with a shot. Goes wide to the right of McBride. Falconer digs it out from an Ottawa defender. Hard playing in front of McBride. And taken by Doucette. Now it's Falconer. 1:22 left in the Calgary power play. Now it's Falconer centering it. McBride makes the save. As a Minnesota Saints fan is about to settle into enjoying the championship game. As we get a whistle with 11:04 to go in regulation. It will be Harb facing off against Falconer. Now it's Harb. Cameron in front of his own goal. Taken by Falconer. Here's a shot. Goes off of McBride. As we're down to 30 seconds in the Calgary power play. Falconer. Defended by Blaine Cameron. There's a centering pass. Now here comes Falconer. Falconer scores. It's a power play goal from Falconer, steering it on the right side of McBride, and the Calgary lead is 2. The goal coming at 4:54 of the third period. That's the 10th goal of the tournament for Mike Falconer.
Scoring for Calgary, number 34, Mike Falconer. Assisted by number 30, Gerald Doucette.
Doucette picks up the assist as the ball goes out of bounds with 9:49 to go in regulation. 2-goal lead for Calgary. As Awad tries to dig it out of the wheelchair as Ottawa goes on the attack. A high shot goes off the left wheel of Barrett. That's Paul in the corner. Paul going in front of the Calgary bench. And out of bounds with 8:57 to go in regulation. Well, one of TV's most popular game show hosts was a native of Ottawa and went to college there. Just celebrated his birthday the first day of the tournament. The longtime host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek. He turned 74. He went to the University of Ottawa and graduated with a degree in philosophy. Yeah. And Falconer's goal has put Ottawa in jeopardy as they trail by 2. I just had to put that in since Jeopardy. Jeopardy's my favorite game show.
Oh, there you go.
I've been a fan. When I get the chance, I'll watch it. And now we're also going to get a penalty on Calgary. As once again, Ottawa will go on the power play, and they need the goal to get back in the game. That is Awad, where the shot goes wide to the right of Barrett and out of bounds with 8:01 to go. 1:49 left in the Ottawa power play. It's the 5th power play attempt for the Ottawa Capitals. Ottawa, also the home of one of the most prolific singer-songwriters of all time, Paul Anka. And just like one of Anka's 70s hits, the players and fans are having their times of their lives here in St. Paul. As we're down to 7:05 in the game. 50 seconds in the power play. That's a wad. As play continues. That's to the penalty is expired. Calgary's at full 0:08 to go in regulation. One other note about Paul Anka, by the way. He was one of the original owners of the Ottawa Senators when pro hockey turned to Ottawa after a long hiatus. Ottawa has never won an NHL Stanley Cup. Yet they still draw to the arena that was known as the Coral Center. As the face-off will be to the right of McBride. There was a crease violation called on Ottawa's number 9, Mohamed Awad. It was for a crease violation. As the ball goes out of bounds with 5:42 to go. 2-goal lead for Calgary. Reminder again, if you missed this game and would like to see it again, we archive all our games at psbmn.com. As the ball is steered into Ottawa territory with 5:26 to go. Now it's Thorne. Thorne defended by. There's a whistle. With 1:03 remaining in the Calgary power play. There are also a couple of members of the Toronto Lake Raiders among the small crowd here in St. Paul. As Harp faces off against Falconer. And the face-off goes to Calgary. There's a shot from Falconer, but McBride makes the save. 5 minutes to go in the game. There's an opportunity. They wave off the goal. McBride held on. There will also be a face-off to the right of the Ottawa netminder with 4:47 left to go. And there's a shot that goes into the lower part of McBride's wheelchair. And fortunately, the official got the ball out of the wheelchair. No maintenance was needed. Ten seconds remaining in the Calgary power play. There's a shot that goes into traffic.
Immediately following this game, we'll have weapon ceremonies for teams 8 through 3. And team photos will be taken at the far end underneath the banner.
Public address announcer Charlie Bros informing the fans that there will be an awards ceremony for the 3rd through 8th place teams, which will follow the completion of this game.
Ottawa first strike.
As Ottawa is full strength. Now it's Falconer going after the ball along with Harb. 3:50 remaining. McBride steers it out. Now it's Harb for Ottawa. York in front of the bench. Now into the corner. And Falconer regains possession for Calgary. Long shot from Falconer. McBride with the save. And there's a ball that goes into some traffic and retrieved by Calgary.
Yeah, 2 years. That goal of yours 2 years from now, you're going to call us up and ask us to flag.
That's Doucette. Sends it over to Falconer. Falconer in his own territory. Now brings it across the center line. Falconer with a shot. It goes wide to the left of McBride. Now it's Moses York. Goes off a wheelchair defender. That's Bourbonnais. Falconer in traffic. As we get a whistle. And we would like to thank all the volunteers who devoted their time to making the tournament a success. As we get a penalty on Ottawa, it will be on Rodney Harb at 12:49. As play resumes with Moses York, and the ball was trapped. So they're going to go at it again. And the faceoff goes to Ottawa. Now it's York. There's a shot wide to the right of McBride. That's Thorne with 1:42 remaining. Wilson. And it looks like there's going to be a penalty. But there isn't. That's Paul with a shot. It goes into defensive traffic. Now it's York for Ottawa. And we're in the final minute of the third place game. There is also a whistle with 52.7 seconds remaining. There will also be a face-off to the left of Barrett. There's a shot. Goes off of Barrett's wheelchair. Now it's York for Ottawa with 42 seconds. Another shot, but it goes wide to the right of Barrett. And there's a long shot, goes in front of the Ottawa bench. 23 seconds remaining. As the penalty will come to a close, Ottawa full strength with 10.5 seconds remaining. As it looks like Calgary's about to wrap up the third place medals with a 2-goal lead. And the third place medals will go to the Calgary Selects. The Calgary Selects have wrapped up the third place game by the score of 3-1.
Your third place team is the Calgary Selects.
Before we go down to the medal ceremony, here's a recap of the scoring.
Can we get all third place through 8th place teams on
But we will
the
not
floor
recap the game. We will have the awards ceremony coming up in just a moment, with the third and 8th place teams, third through 8th place teams being recognized. Now that's good sportsmanship, recognizing the third through 8th place teams. Nobody is a loser for playing in this tournament. They're winners for playing, for getting this far and getting to St. Paul. As both teams go through their post-game handshakes. Picking a player of the game for both teams. For Calgary has to be their captain, Sean Paul, with 2 goals. For Ottawa, he got the lone goal, Moses York. York having an outstanding tournament for Ottawa. Right now, we're going to go down to the floor as we're going to recognize the third through 8th place team. So let's go to public address announcer Charlie Brose and pick up the awards ceremony. Michigan's on the floor right now, as well as Toronto. So we'll be ready with the awards ceremony in just a moment. But once again, we'd like to thank all the volunteers who helped out with the tournament. Volunteers are the backbone of a national event, and they should be commended. Whether it's helping out at the scores table, concessions, or selling tournament merchandise, they put in a lot of time and dedication. But while we are waiting for the awards ceremony, coming up this fall, high school football as well as soccer resumes on PSB Media with coverage of Bloomington Jefferson, Kennedy, Edina, as well as Eden Prairie. Can Eden Prairie go for 4 in a row? Find out when the high school football season begins Labor Day weekend right here on PSB Media. As the medals are getting ready, so let's go to Charlie Bros for the awards ceremony.
I can hear it though.
Not hostile.
Don't do that. I can. If you're talking to it,
You can hear?
Yes.
Me too. All right.
But there's still.
That won't work. Never mind. Hey, 'cause I got an idea. Throw the headsets down here. I'll just run over there periodically and get some noise to pass along.
We are ready to begin the award ceremony.
Jack, can you? Yeah, I will. Yeah, so I can hear yours. Repeat thing. Unless you need it. Oh, you're gonna what? They'll be all right. Yeah, they'll be all right. They'll work it out. They're gonna go under. I got it.
Beginning with our third place team, the Calgary Select. Keith Martinez.
What's that?
I'll point that out so they can hear.
Okay.
Mark Flores. Jackson Wilson, and Moses York. Coaches, Dean DeLoyer, Andrew Burke, and Jacob Duggan.
You can send them all to his Hey Tyler, go ahead and zoom in on stuff. It's a good time. All we offering. And life so far. Fast is breaking. Sound is making. I know, but just use the camera. I'll be switching to you. It's a good time. Yeah, but all of you try to get a good shot of the teams.
Work together. So it looks like you should wrap this up.
Yeah, we're gonna hold on and do all this. We're gonna do all the presenting.
You're still presenting.
Attention team,
Yeah.
once you receive your medals and your team photo, please leave the floor. And now our fifth place team, the Michigan Mustangs. Beginning with Chris Lemieux, Jason Grabinski, Marty Whitmer, Dean the Big Blue Monster Olivas, Kevin Canvera, Clay Martin, Frank Rogers, our medal ceremony. Let's get ready for the championship game.
After the third and 8th through 8th place teams have been recognized, they're leaving the floor and we're going to get ready for the championship game, which will be coming up in a few minutes. But before we do, here's a recap of the third place game between Calgary and Ottawa. Calgary scored 2 first period goals, both scored by Sean Hall. The first at 6:04, the second at 6:57. Ottawa cut the lead to 1 on a goal from Moses York, assisted by Rodney Harp at 9:30. And the only other goal came in the third period on a goal from Mike Falconer on a power play, which was assisted by Gerald Doucette at 4:54. The Calgary selects wrapping up the third place game and picking up the bronze medals. Coming up, the championship game featuring the Philadelphia Power Play and the Minnesota Saints. For our producers, Mike York and Brett Johnson, this is Howard Luloff saying goodbye and reminding you once again the final score in the third place game of the 2014 Power Hockey Cup. The Calgary selects 3, the Ottawa Capitals 1. So long, everybody.